All right, and now we are live at eTourism Summit on our second week, and I want to thank everybody for attending. We've got a fantastic, really exciting session planned today, and I'm really excited about all the content that we're going to share. The idea is, treat me, don't trick me. How do we, trust has never been more important, and great ways to communicate our value proposition and gain trust. We're in as we heard from Brian Solis just last week, we're kind of in a post-trust environment. And so our job and our ability to create trust with our partners is more important now than ever. And so I want to thank all the panelists for joining us today. And Jim, I want to thank you for being here, agreeing to moderate, and for your incredible support of the Tourism Summit this year. It's great to have you on board. Again, I would like to encourage all of our audience that any questions that you have, please put them in the Q&A or engage in the chat, and we'll definitely make sure to reach out and get as much feedback as we can from you. So with that, I'm going to hand over today's moderating responsibilities to Jim Johnson with VDX TV. Again, thank you for your support, and all of you panelists, thanks for being with us today. This is going to be an awesome conversation.
Well, thank you so much, Will. I appreciate that kind introduction, and welcome to all of you to our panel. So just to start off, my name is Jim Johnson. I'm the VP of Account Planning with VDX.TV. My company is a digital video platform that provides 100% consumer opt-in video formats, as well as connected TV and OTT solutions for all of your DMO and travel brand needs. It gives me great pleasure to welcome some very esteemed panelists onto this particular summit here. So I would like to introduce, starting from the top left, we have Lauren Seidel. She is the Communication and Content Manager from Travel Wyoming. Welcome, Lauren. Next, we have Brian Wagner, the Assistant Commissioner of Marketing for the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development. Welcome, Brian. Next, we have Shannon Lowry, the Content and Social Media Manager for Visit Savannah. Welcome, Shannon. And then last but not least, we have Liz May, the Digital Marketing Director for Discover Puerto Rico. Welcome, Liz. So to start off, I'd like to chat a little bit about sort of the broader landscape before we get into some really cool executions that you've all been working on for your respective DMOs and brands. So one of the recent pieces of research I've seen for the travel industry from PwC indicated that consumers who have traveled once during the pandemic are much more likely to feel comfortable traveling a second time than those who haven't. So really our challenge is getting those people sort of off the couch, so to speak, into their travel mindset. TSA numbers are still showing 40 to 50% less people traveling through airports compared to last year. Destination analyst surveys report about 45% of would-be travelers are still holding out. And then finally, most destinations of interest so far have included tropical vacations, Hawaii and Florida, or outdoors-oriented destinations such as Colorado, Utah, Wyoming, places where socially distancing is very easy to do. So the question for the group, and I'll start with you, Lauren. In your recent experience, what do you know of the people who are currently traveling to your destinations, and how have you evolved your marketing strategy to persuade some of those perhaps like-minded travelers? Are there any tactics or any audience insights you can share about the people who have traveled and maybe how you can attract similar people?
Yeah, definitely. So as you mentioned, a lot of people are really seeking the outdoors and seeking space to spread out and enjoy the destination that they're going to. And Wyoming is really well poised to really bring that to people. We also know that road trips, people feel much more comfortable driving than they do flying. So we're really leaning into our road trip campaigns and really trying to push people through the state as they make their way to some of our more popular destinations like Yellowstone and Grand Teton National Park. So really for us, it's a lot of what we've been doing, a lot of what our campaigns are really rooted in. We're just really leaning into those things even more so now. And we're also haven't been targeting our national audience. We've really just been sticking to those drive markets of surrounding states and really focusing a lot on road trips and just adventure travel.
Got it. Okay, so travel themes, road trips, sort of the short destinations. Brian, are you seeing a similar phenomenon with Tennessee, or are you seeing something a little different there?
Hey, Jim. Hey, everybody. We're seeing a similar thing in Tennessee, but Tennessee is much different from Wyoming. That it's really, our strength has always been in our diversity of tourism products, and that's helping us now in some areas. Like Lauren said, people are flocking to the outdoors, and they really don't need us to tell them to go to the outdoors. Our state parks, we have 56 state parks in Tennessee. Some of those parks up 20, 30, 40% year over year. Great Smoky Mountain National Park is seeing, record highs they haven't seen since the mid 60s. So Tennessee is very different. East, Middle, West. So East Tennessee, in the Appalachian Mountains, and even into Middle Tennessee, those small towns and outdoor activities are doing quite well. That's kind of one of our beaches. If you were going to compare it to another big tourism destination, our other beach is music, though, and in particular in Memphis and Nashville. And when you can't have live music and festivals like CMA Fest and Bonnaroo and 4th of July celebrations and all of our big concert events that go on day in and day out, that's really painful. And so, for an example, our Smith Travel Research report for July year over year, Nashville was down 75% in hotel room occupancy. Sevier County, where the Great Smoky Mountain National Park is, was down 3%. So, it's kind of, and usually Nashville leads tourism in Tennessee with like 30% of economic impact, with Memphis, our second one. And a lot of that's driven by events and conventions and things like that. So right now, tourism's kind of been turned on its head in Tennessee, which we're thankful for having that diverse set of assets. But, we're very eager for things to start opening up again in terms of the ability to have events.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's always interesting to find those passion points why people travel and try to focus on those, because music is one of my loves, and that's certainly a reason for me to travel anywhere I can go. And the virtual context around music isn't quite the same as the live environment. That's one that can't really be replicated very well. Shannon, I'm curious to hear from you in terms of perhaps maybe more on the audience side or the consumer side. What are these travelers looking for? What do they look like? Are they any different than the ones that you might have seen maybe last year around this time?
So I think that typically we've tried to, here in Savannah, hit all markets. We're not too focused on any one division of people over the other. We in particular focused on not only people who traveled in 2019, but also people who traveled in Q1 of 2020, including during the quarantine. That was really big. Our shout out to our director of data intelligence, Steve Coleman, who is a genius CIA agent with his data skills. But we really focused on people who were willing to travel when things were really bad, and seeing if they would be possibly willing to make a return trip. So we're kind of hitting all verticals in terms of what the visitor looks like here. We're getting probably a lot more traffic from people who maybe would have considered coming to Savannah rather than our sister destination, Visit Tybee, for Tybee Island, Georgia. A lot of people who probably would have focused on Savannah are now looking more towards our beach. So it's kind of good. We're getting a little more traffic over there. But really, we're probably skewing a little bit younger just because of the increase in digital efforts. But we're still just focusing on anybody who wants to come, really.
That's great. I appreciate that. It's interesting to note that you have switched in digital and kind of the shift. We're seeing digital transformation come up more and more in these conversations, and it does seem to be catering to a bit of a younger audience. So that's a great piece of insight, and I think that's similar to what I've been hearing across the board. And then Liz, I know that Puerto Rico isn't quite accepting any tourism yet or travelers, but curious to see what that pent-up demand looks like. Are people reaching out and asking about these things? And what are they looking for from Puerto Rico in terms of communication as they get back on the road?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're right, Jim. We are not fully open for tourism at the moment. But the good news is that we are currently inviting visitors to book their future trips to the island. So Puerto Rico historically has a booking window of about 45 days from whenever people book their trip to whenever they actually arrive on the island. So we have tons of interest. Unfortunately, Puerto Rico was one of those destinations that had the reopening seesaw. So back in the summer months, we opened for tourism in the middle of July. And the cases started to spike again on the island. So unfortunately, we had to roll back those restrictions. So those restrictions are being lessened than they were previously over the last few months, but they're still much tighter than they are on most of the mainland United States. So that definitely has to take into account of our marketing strategies moving forward. So I'll dig a little bit deeper in my presentation of some of those tactics that we're executing moving forward, because it is something that has to drive our decisions for sure.
Absolutely, yeah, Liz. I think flexibility is the name of the game for brands and consumers alike. It's, you know, things are changing still on the fly, and it's interesting to see retail outlets open and close, and restaurants are doing the same thing, and this vacillation, and it'll probably persist, hopefully not too much longer, but that's definitely a key point. I think flexibility for everyone is in key focus. So great, you know, at this point, I'd like to actually turn it over to the panelists, and everybody has put together a bit of a presentation on some of their latest marketing efforts, kind of in the new normal. And I wanted to start with Lauren on my top left, so she can showcase some of the great work that she's been doing with Visit Wyoming or Travel Wyoming.
Perfect.
Give her a minute to set up here.
Let me just set up. And let me know when you can see my screen.
Okay. Just a reminder, if she's setting up, if there's any questions, please type them in the chat. We'll get to them after everyone has done presenting. There we go.
Awesome. Okay, so as I alluded to a little bit, our marketing strategy has definitely, changed to fit in with the times, but Wyoming, we're pretty lucky here where we're already pretty spread out. We already have a lot of attractions that are really focused on the outdoors. So we really were leaning into kind of those images and those tactics with our marketing throughout the pandemic so far. And so That's Why brand is really rooted in a handful of pillars. And one of the first things that we did when the pandemic hit the US was create a pillar called Why Responsibly. And we created a landing page, we have a hashtag, and it's really dedicated. It's the one spot where we're really keeping everything that we know about different health regulations, what's going on in Wyoming as far as what's open and what's closed, really linking people out to best practices through the Wyoming Health Department and through the CDC. This is really the page that we've been driving to, and we have a banner kind of at the top of our website, an advisory banner that goes to this page, and just really sharing all the information that we have in real time. And we have a PDF that we keep updated as much as possible so that people can know what to expect when they're coming to Wyoming as far as what they can and cannot see and do. We also released a video very similar to, I know, what most brands and destinations released, but I really think that it's necessary in really building up that brand trust. It's really just a video going into, we understand the seriousness of this pandemic. We're all in this together type of a thing, and really showcasing Wyoming's epic intimacy is what we really refer to our brand as. So just really the big wide open spaces, and then just really showing a few people kind of in those big landscapes. So you can go ahead and play this video. Thank you. So that was really the first piece of creative that we released in early April, and it went over really well. And again, I just think that it's an important step to building trust. Then in mid-June, and we actually just wrapped up this campaign toward the end of September, we started what was called our rebound phase. So really trying to use, again, our imagery in our outdoor spaces to encourage people to come visit Wyoming, but really being mindful with the call to action. You can see all of these call to actions are plan now, get the e-newsletter. It's really more about planning rather than saying, like come here now, book your trip. So we really were wanting people to start thinking about travel and thinking about coming to Wyoming, but being careful not to push them to travel immediately, just knowing that, there are still some safety issues in question. And then running simultaneously with that campaign, we also had a road trip campaign running. And we've always been a big road trip state. Wyoming is a very large state. So if you want to see a lot of it, you really do need to take a few days to drive through it. And so we have instead of breaking our state up into regions, we break it up into road trip routes. And all of the routes lead up into the northwest corner of Wyoming, where a lot of our main attractions are, such as Jackson, Yellowstone, and Grand Teton National Park. So we really focused on targeting our drive markets, so just surrounding states, and again, really just showcasing how much space is in Wyoming in these images. And again, the call to action being explore route now, and all of these go to these specific route pages. And we also opened up an opportunity to our in-state partners that we haven't done before. And that is having them kind of join in on this campaign by buying paid social ads through the Travel Wyoming Facebook page. And so that was just something else that's been important to us throughout all of this, is really making sure we keep our partners in mind. And so we offered them a matching co-op opportunity for them to really showcase their destinations. And we thought that was important for building trust as well, because who knows better about their destination and what is available than specific towns and cities themselves. So in Wyoming, we never had any sort of statewide mask requirements. It's really been kind of city by city or region by region. And we have known that it's been really important for travelers to know exactly what states and destinations and businesses are doing to keep travelers safe. And so what we did was this little, we call him the masked cowboy, was actually created by our governor's office, and we asked if we could use him for tourist purposes. So we created a very simple toolkit to share with our partners, really encouraging them to showcase what they themselves are doing to keep people safe. And then we also just use the more general, wash your hands, wear a mask, stay connected for up-to-date information, just on our Why Responsibly landing page. And we have it in our consumer emails, and really just trying to keep that top of mind, that we are committed to people's safety. We just wrapped up production of our 2021 travel guide, and I know it's a lot of people this year are choosing to just go digital so that they can stay more nimble. We did decide to move forward with our usual print production of the travel guide, but we wanted to be very cautious with really going forward with content that we had been planning, but making sure that we were including disclaimers as well. So we made the decision to move forward with having a regular calendar of events and really showing the dates for the events that we could, realizing that, not everyone knows exactly what's going to be happening. But we wanted to try to balance just having people feel inspired and welcome to come, and we want them to be able to plan around these events, but then also being realistic that, next summer could very well look similar to this summer. So wanting to make sure that we had a disclaimer just saying to really check in with the events and specific destinations, because things could change rapidly. And we have very similar disclaimers on our national parks page, and we also have a spread talking about restaurants. So really just trying to stay realistic in what the next travel season will look like, while still trying to inspire people to come visit. And then our Why Responsibly campaign, we've been working to evolve it. So when we first came up with the pillar Why Responsibly, we always had in our minds that we wanted to evolve it into more of a sustainability message rather than focusing specifically on COVID-19. And we felt that kind of toward the end of the summer was a really good time to do this. There have been a lot of people, like camping is on the rise, taking RVs out, that's on the rise. There's a lot of people traveling and exploring the outdoors who might not have done that before and who aren't necessarily aware of, some of the different things such as wildlife safety or just staying hydrated when you're up in elevation, different things like that. So we had actually heard some feedback from some of our partners that some areas were getting a little bit overcrowded or people weren't really being respectful with just different safety measures or sustainability type measures. So we kind of heard that, and we worked with like state parks, Game and Fish, some of Wyoming's national forests, and a number of other partners really rooted in the outdoors to hear their pain points and come up with messaging that could really address some of that. So right now it's still a mix we have coronavirus type information, but really trying to mix in more sustainability and more mindful travel. And this campaign just ran in September. What you're seeing here are Instagram story images, linking people to our Why Responsibly page, which has also recently been updated to really take more of that type of messaging into account. And then this slide is just showcasing just some more creative from that campaign. Some of these are just fillers for some small ad spaces we had remaining in our travel guide, and also just some additional social media creative. But again, we're really trying to extend this conversation of, treating people, not tricking them, and just really making sure that they know what to expect when they come to Wyoming, even beyond COVID-19. So, for example, there's cell service isn't always available in Wyoming, and certain spots of the state could get overcrowded. So really encouraging people to go to lesser known areas. And wildlife safety, especially in Yellowstone, we see all the time people thinking bison are just big, fluffy zoo animals, but they're actually very dangerous. So we're really transitioning into that language as well. And as I mentioned, we had this campaign run in September, and we also plan to have it be a big part of our campaign for this upcoming summer season. And then I just wanted to mention really quickly, we also currently are running a Why Relocate campaign. So we're, again, leaning on some partnerships, a partnership with the Wyoming Business Council, and really taking this time where people might be reevaluating their lives, people are able to work more remotely, and just encouraging them to come to Wyoming and to, start businesses or just kind of plant their roots here. So this is an example of an ad from that's running in our travel guide, but we also have a social campaign and some ad displays running for this as well. And then we're currently focusing on really finalizing our winter campaign. And I have just one more video to share with you guys. And this is a video that wasn't produced by our office. It's actually produced by Jackson Hole Mountain Resort, and they're just one of the premier skiing destinations in Wyoming. I think that this video really captures, they've done a really good job of showing people hey, we plan to have a ski season, but we plan to do it safely, and just telling them kind of what they can expect moving forward this winter. So you can go ahead and play that video.
For 55 years, Jackson Hole has defined big mountain skiing.
Progression, powder, has defined my entire life pretty much.
Define a great place to work.
Adventure.
With adventure, you have your ups and downs, but with a positive attitude, it allows you to seek out other opportunities and think outside of the box.
All of us are wondering what's going to happen at Jackson Hole Mountain Resort this winter. No matter what, we want to go skiing. We want to go riding. We want to get out in the mountains.
this pandemic has created a new set of unprecedented challenges for us all.
We are planning to adapt and be a better business so that adventure can thrive again.
As you can imagine, things will be a little bit different this winter.
So let's all be patient, respectful, and kind to each other.
This season, we're creating new safety measures to keep our guests and staff safe.
We're making sure everybody wears a mask at all times, both the staff and the guests. We're sanitizing with increased hygiene throughout all of our operations.
We're creating new social distancing measures. We have limited capacity inside our facilities and restaurants, and we want to keep you, our skiers and riders, as safe as possible.
Locals and employees have a saying, if you don't know, don't go. And our goal this year is to make sure that everyone is in the know about what JHMR is doing to keep everyone safe this winter. And one of the most powerful tools we have at our disposal is the JH Insider app, which everybody should download.
So let's be safe, let's be happy, let's be healthy, let's take care of each other, and enjoy the winter.
We hope to see you this winter.
Can't wait to see you this winter.
Hope to see all of you this winter.
We hope to see you this winter.
Great. Thank you so much. Lauren, you still there? So 3 takeaways from that. Sustainability, I think there's been this awakening from a lot of people that sustainability is kind of front and center. More economic, or I should say environmental awareness, certainly. Number 2, expectation setting, just letting people know what's going to happen when you arrive. And also videos like that first one make me incredibly misty-eyed, so I almost had to turn my camera off there for a second. Finally, let's move over to Brian. Let's take a look at what you've done for Tennessee.
Sure. I'll share my presentation in just a second. I thought I'd set it up and let everybody know, where the money came from. We're really grateful that our governor's office and the committee allocating the CARES Act funding gave us a budget from our state's disbursement. I think it was on June 30th that tourism marketing became an eligible use of CARES Act funding for the states. So we put together a proposal and received $25 million from Tennessee's allocation for tourism marketing. So we are in the process of actually working with a grant administrator organization to get 15 million out to our DMOs across the state in all 95 counties, and that's being distributed equitably based on an average of the last 2 years of tax revenue by county from the economic impact report that U.S. Travel puts out. Fortunately, we have all that data, and that was a way we could do it. With our we have 95 counties in Tennessee and about 108 DMOs. So they're all receiving funding, and that bottom 50 getting a minimum of $25,000 each. And then also from that, we are using a couple $1 million to do communication enhancements at our welcome centers for safety messaging, and some about $600,000 to our parks and the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, who have seen an influx of people, so they need some assistance with messaging. And then our campaign is about $6.8 million, and what we're calling it is for the love of Tennessee, and that's what I'm going to do a brief overview with you here today. Should be coming up on the screen here in just a second. And it's for the love of Tennessee, travel safe. Please let me know when you see that on your screen. And my fingers are crossed that it's gonna come up. Because me talking about it isn't nearly as good as seeing the creative. Darn it. Did you guys hear that? The robot lady told me my screen sharing has been disconnected. I'll try one more time. And if not, I'll do my best to describe what we're doing. I feel this is more promising. I enjoyed Lauren's presentation, and I liked how when she was done, she just like dropped the mic, and I'm sure that was accidental. I'm just trying to bring a little humor while we're experiencing some technical difficulties. Darn it. Okay, well, how about this? That's weird. It looks like it's loading something. Maybe we can go ahead and try to play a couple videos. No? Let's see if we can get the screen share one more time. It's weird. It kind of did it automatically. We can come back to this. In the meantime, maybe we can go ahead and roll the videos. Let's try that. We've got two 30-second spots that we're going to try to play for y'all.
Good stuff. Very upbeat. Do we have another one? There we go.
Yeah, there is one more video that we can play. We'll try to do that, and then we can talk a little bit more about the campaign. Great. Thank you, Becca, on the back end for helping make those videos happen. So we'll try again with the screen share, but I can just talk a little bit about the campaign. I mean, obviously, the whole premise is we want to feature safe activities that you can enjoy, like the outdoors, but then also, you know, we want to encourage people to travel safely and exercise those key tenets that we've all been preaching from the CDC. Welcome back, Lauren. We missed you. Of social distancing, wearing a face mask, and increased hand sanitization. I mean, those are really the three biggies, right? So we're using various tactics to try to get that messaging across, but also, you know, trying to build consumer confidence and letting people know, like, hey, you can travel, get out there, mask up and get out there. And here, you know, we need them getting back to our restaurants. We need them going to our attractions. We can't have live music, but, you know, all of our music attractions are open. Graceland's open. The Country Music Hall of Fame's open, you know, and people can do these things. And really, these places are doing a great job, you know, of protecting people's safety, and we have to get them back out there traveling to get these jobs going again. So we like the For the Love of Tennessee, Travel Safe. One, just that's kind of something everybody says, you know, for the love of this and for the love of that. And actually that plug and play is what we like about the campaign, because it can translate into some of our different destinations, or for the love of music, travel safe, or for the love of the great outdoors, travel safe. And then getting even more creative with some of the stuff that I'm hoping to show you, you know, for the love of the peaks. And you've got a roller coaster at Dollywood climbing up that first hill for the love of the valleys, and somebody's riding a horse through a valley for the love of the moments in between, for the love of Tennessee, travel safe. And that's kind of what we've done with some of our creative. Are you all seeing anything yet or no, in terms of my screen?
Yeah, we can see the For the Love of Tennessee CARES Act campaign, 1013.
Oh, good. How about that? We're in business. So I just talked a little bit about the goals, trying to get that out. People always ask about budget, so I went ahead and I'm putting that right out there. I told you we got about 6.8 million, and here's the thing: we have to spend it by December 30th. That's when the CARES Act funding expires. So it's a bit of a creative challenge. Like, okay, here's this budget, and we need you to promote tourism and get it going while we're still dealing with this virus. So I'm really pleased with how we've responded from a creative standpoint with our agency VML Y&R to put this together. So you can see we've got $4.5 million for media, about 1.4 for production, and 900,000 cap on agency fees. This is a breakdown of our media budget: 2.3 million in broadcast, 600,000 out of home, 100,000 in print, 1.4 million in digital, and then you can see a further breakdown across those digital channels with video display. Audio, we do a lot of programmatic video. So you get those hand raisers who are already searching for travel or have already been to our website, and we target them with some of that pre-roll video. 300,000 in socials, paid search, influencers, which we think is a fantastic tactic to get people out. When they see people they know or admire out, at a restaurant, they might feel more like going to a restaurant. And then just our ad serving. So for the first time, we're actually targeting in-state travelers. In the past, at a state government level, it's sometimes hard to justify spending money in-state, and our destinations do in-state marketing. So we've kind of stayed out of that. But at this, very different time, we need people traveling in-state and taking those day trips. So we're in-state. And then our drive markets: Atlanta, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Birmingham, Charlotte, Louisville, Little Rock, St. Louis, Jackson, Greenville. And then Chicago and Dallas are usually kind of our long haul markets. But right now, research says people are driving, they're willing to drive 500 miles. So we're in those markets. This is just kind of a breakdown of our broadcast television. You can see those markets and then some of the different networks. Timing, we actually just launched this campaign yesterday, so I was really glad that this conference was the day after launch, so I could feel good about sharing all this information with you. We plan on running our campaign from now through November 22nd. Out of home, basically we're touring in state, and then folks in those same drive markets. Print advertising, we haven't done a lot of print in the past. We've, like everybody else, been doing a lot more digital, but for in-state, we really wanted to build this, and through the Tennessee Press Association, we could do a pretty wide distribution. And then, of course, with fishing, we've continued to work with Bassmaster. There's so many lakes and rivers in Tennessee. Fishing licenses, I think, increased by 100,000 this year. I mean, just jumped off the charts. Quick glance at some of our streaming video media vendors that we're using. We've got a pretty neat program with Hulu that we're doing for a special content series I'll talk a little bit more about here in just a minute. And then the influencers, having just, making sure that we have a lot of diversity in our influencers, and that they're showing how you can travel safely. I mean, very intentional about masking up and getting out. But then also featuring our Tennessee Music Pathways, which makes a great road trip. We are part of the National Civil Rights Trail and have a lot of civil rights locations in Memphis, Nashville, and East Tennessee that are very popular right now. We're seeing an uptick. People have a lot of interest in getting to know more about these topics. So just wanted to call that out. And then I'll quickly go through some of the other creative for the Love of Tennessee Travel Safe. We've already seen these videos, and I'm told they won't play in this format anyway. So I'll see if I can click through that. There we go. So we made those first two videos using footage that we had because we needed to get them done so we could get them traffic quickly. This is just more of what I was talking about from a creative standpoint. Having music attractions in various history museums for the love of what was, cut to some murals, people standing in Clarksville Customs House eating out at Strawberry Ale Works, going to a distillery. We picked Uncle Nearest near Lynchburg. For the love of what is, for the love of what's to come, for the love of Tennessee, travel safe. Here's another one that I talked a little bit about, for the love of the peaks with the roller coaster, then a water slide, then somebody zip lining, cut to somebody walking on the Greenway, or maybe under some of our dark sky viewing in Obed Natural Reserve. For the love of the little moments in between, for the love of Tennessee, travel safe. So just, you can see that. And then here's another treatment with our 15-second digital videos, again, showing people they can do these things. So we've got the point of view of the rider riding a horse that says, this is what riding in Tennessee looks like. And then you go to a wide angle while social distancing. Same thing for golfing. This is what golfing in Tennessee looks like while social distancing. Again, just reminding people, you can do all this stuff right now. This is what Dollywood looks like with the point of view of someone at the front of the roller coaster while wearing a mask. Same exhilarating feeling. You're just wearing a mask. And I will say, Dollywood, I have been there with my family. They're doing such a good job. I mean, just with the social distancing, pushing hand sanitizer into people's hands, every other seat, limited capacity, probably a best-in-class scenario of what an amusement park can do to operate safely during these times. This is what fishing looks like while social distancing. Same kind of thing. Here's some of our display banners. For the love of the climb, for the love of the fall, for the love of Tennessee, travel safe. Culinary, need our restaurants going again. For the love of the sweet, for the love of the savory, for the love of Tennessee, travel safe. So similar concepts on our out-of-home boards. Worth the socially distant wait. Social distance just comes with the territory. Social distancing is in our DNA. We're in state, we're doing some gas station toppers to remind people, it's so germy at the gas station, right? Like, for the love of the open road, sanitize your hands. Everybody wash your hands. Print ads. You can fit a lot of social distancing into 800 square miles. For the love of Tennessee, travel safe. Again, with the worth the socially distanced wait with some delicious ribs. I really like this photo from the Appalachian Trail. 6 feet, how about 6 miles? Plenty of space out there. Similar to kind of Wyoming. I really like that Wyoming spot that we got to see. We are also making and distributing kits at our welcome centers with hand sanitizer and postcards and face masks. And then
Brian, just about 30 seconds left, sorry.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay. Well, I'm at the end of my presentation.
Cool.
For the love of family, road trips. So we got artists Drew and Ellie Holcomb. Oh, I missed a slide. That's weird. That Drew and Ellie Holcomb are songwriters in Tennessee, and they and their family got an Airstream trailer and just completed a 14-mile loop of the state, doing a bunch of different activities, writing a couple songs, and they're going to help us hopefully get a little media attention for the Love of Tennessee Travel Safe campaign. And that is a content series. The first episode will come out in a week from their trip. We had a film crew travel with them, and that'll be a series which will then be cut down into 30s on Hulu, where you can kind of do like a series within a series on Hulu. And that was it. So sorry if I ran long. I feel like I stumbled out of the gate there with my technical issues, but
really cool stuff, Brian. That was great. I mean, I really love the diversity too. It's not just about the cities in these spaces. It's about getting out and exploring some of those sort of uncharted destinations. And I think that's really what makes that powerful. So appreciate that. Let's move over to Shannon. Shannon, would you like to share?
Hi. Hey, everybody. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me know when it comes up.
All set.
Okay. Wait, did you say it's there?
You're good to go, yeah.
Yes. Okay, cool. I'm going to try and go as fast as I can so my friend Liz has plenty of time to talk as well. So if I say anything too fast, just shoot me a question in the panel. I'm Shannon. I am the content and social media manager here at Visit Savannah. I have been here for about 3 years. And I am going to speak specifically on how to create honest, compelling content from a content implementation standpoint. I know we're talking about a lot of high-level campaigns and things, and those are certainly things that we have managed and done here at Visit Savannah, but I directly handle the content, so that's my expertise, so that's what I'm going to talk about. Savannah is a little bit different than some of your other destinations. We're a little farther down the funnel in terms of things being open. We initially started a local campaign, which is something we've never done before. So speaking back to Jim's question at the beginning, another market of people that we've been trying to reach, or that we were trying to reach initially, was locals, which we've never done. So that was something really great that we started with. Then we moved on to drive markets, which is where probably most DMOs are right now. And then now we're kind of in the limbo space between our drive market and our direct flight path. So we're running campaigns with the airport and things like that and focus on those folks. But speaking specifically to compelling content, part of the reason why Savannah has progressed so far along down the funnel in such a quick amount of time is because we have had really strong content strategies that have kept the destination top of mind. And we've developed a really strong, honest voice and relationship with our audiences online, relationships that we had already established, but now have really built upon in everything that has happened in 2020. So we're going to look at how we did that. We're going to talk about brand honesty and what that looks like this year. So for us at Visit Savannah, we really had to get comfortable using the phrase "we don't know." That was something that we kind of tried to avoid for a while, but now we've just told our audiences honestly, we don't know what's going to happen down the road, and kind of taking it to the next point, we're really sympathizing with our audience in that way. We've been letting them know that, we hear their comments, we see their feedback, we let them know that we hear their stories, we understand their frustration, and we, whenever we can, try and give them actionable items or steps that they can take to help them in their trip planning or trip adjusting process, or just in their general loneliness in 2020. It's been a really tough year for a lot of people. There hasn't been a lot of hope. So kind of just giving them an opportunity to lean into it and feel a little bit better. We've also focused on clear messaging and resources in terms of policy and procedure in the most obvious way that has to do with mask mandates, safety procedures, quarantine, things being open, businesses being open, what's closed, what's not. We really identified who the authority was, and it wasn't really clear for a while who that was in Savannah. So we, similar to Wyoming, created a Savannah Safe page in conjunction with the Savannah Economic Development Authority, the Savannah Chamber, and Savannah City Government. And we created a landing page that our visitors and locals could go to learn more about COVID safety in Savannah. So we created those resources that weren't already in existence. And also making sure that we had clear messaging internally. I think it's important to develop brand honesty with your employees, because if your employees don't trust you, then your audience sure won't. So we really worked hard to build trust with ourselves, with our team, and what our policies and procedures look like, and what our resources are here in our office and in our organization and with our partners in our local community. The other thing that's important, that's really easy to focus, or some of these things are really easy to identify because I'm sure we've all been focused on them, but just to make sure we don't miss anything. Focusing on actions, not words. This is a really big one for Visit Savannah. We never went dark at any point in 2020. We didn't just tell our audience that we were here for them, we let them know. We never went offline. We were constantly pushing out content and responding and being active on our channels. And that was something that really paid off for us in the long run. And the other thing that's been really important for us is accountability and safety on our pages. Whereas we maybe had a policy of hiding certain things or deleting comments or just banning users, we're taking a really active stance of making sure that our social pages are safe and that our visitors and our partners and our followers, or whoever they may be, feel safe and feel like they can come to our pages to enjoy what Savannah has to offer, especially in this day and age. I think I say this in every presentation that I've spoken in 2020. People on the internet are really mad and they're not afraid to say it. So I think that's really important as a brand, to just develop some kind of a voice in how you're going to handle some of that negativity and keep your audience safe. So we'll go ahead and talk about some of the ways that Savannah and Visit Savannah has implemented these ideas and content strategies. I'll show some videos here, but they're not going to have sound, so I can talk over them. So this is an example of escapism. This was a video we shot in February, right before everything hit the fan. That's me. We just wanted to show like a fun video about flowers in Savannah. Our azalea season is really big. But then the pandemic happened right in the peak of our azalea season, and we weren't sure if this video was going to come off as tone deaf. We were really unsure how people were going to react to it. But once things got so bad and it seemed like there was so much hope lost, we just went ahead and pushed it out. We went ahead and posted it, and the responses were incredible. As you can see from some of these screenshots of comments we got on Facebook, it really hit home with exactly what we wanted it to. People verbatim said, "I can't wait to be here. This is such a relief from where I'm at right now." Seasonally, pandemic-wise, it really hit home, and it was a great success for us. And now that video has reached over 104,000 users on Facebook alone. That's not including our Instagram or our YouTube or anything else. So looking at another example of mindfulness, this is one of those points that might seem really obvious, but for us, it really took it to the extreme. You know, we've always tried to be sensitive to whatever is going on in the world, but in 2020, that took on a whole new meaning. We really had to painstakingly consider the verbiage on every single caption, piece of copy, photo, video, whatever went out. We had to really look at it with a magnifying glass and make sure that we were hitting all of the tones that we wanted to. And those tones included not showing people, not having masks, because it just opens a can of worms for how people do or don't feel about them. We never mentioned the word pandemic or quarantine. We felt like the market was really saturated with those words, so we really tried not to use them, but we still wanted to be encouraging without being too cliche, but maybe just a little cliche, you know, just kind of towing the line here and there. And we definitely wanted to be aspirational, but not be gloating. The big thing has been that, you know, we're lucky we live in such a beautiful place that you can get outside and get outdoors and all of these places in these photos and enjoy them at any point. And a lot of people weren't so fortunate. So we really tried to be mindful of that in all of the content we were pressing out. The other thing that we really embraced was ambassadorship. Ooh, so I've always, as the content manager, come on, play. There we go. As the content manager, always done Facebook Lives and Instagram Lives and things like that. But it took on a whole new meaning during the quarantine. We really had to show ourselves as a team and show ourselves as representatives of the destination, knowing that other people couldn't be here. But that was really important. We really put boots on the ground and got out there and safely enjoyed the things that were open and available, and really tried to bring the destination to our followers. And again, always keeping the verbiage clear, saying things like, we know you can't be here right now. We know you wish you were. We're just trying to give you a little bit of hope right now. And we hope that you can come and visit us soon.
Hey, Shannon,
yeah?
Your friendly moderator here. I'm sorry I have to cut you off at this point. I want to move on to Liz if she has a little bit of time. We're up against the clock here, but the central themes were super compelling, and I love the way that you sort of wove those into your strategy. So definitely want to give Liz a bit of time, but that was super cool. Definitely appreciate it, and we'll share some of this info after our call. Thank you, Shannon.
Okay, I'm going to try to quickly get my presentation up. Let me know when you can see it.
Let's see.
Is it loading yet?
Yes, it is. It's loading.
Okay. So before I jump into showing you some of the pretty creatives, I've got a handful of videos to share with everyone today. I just want to give a quick overview of the strategy behind the distribution of the campaign, as well as where we were previously creatively, so you can see where we were going. So as I mentioned, Puerto Rico is one of the destinations that dealt with the reopening seesaw, and our restrictions are much tighter than most of the mainland United States. So that definitely has to be factored into our marketing messaging and strategies as we move forward. So we are going out into the market with our media campaign starting this week, so very excited. Initially, our focus is just going to be to refill the funnel and generate awareness, as we've been dark from a paid media perspective for an extended period of time. So we need to be able to refill that funnel moving forward. And then after we kind of generate some awareness, then we will be able to layer in some lower funnel conversion partners as well. For us, something that was super important for us to dig into is we're an island. So the only way that you can get to us is by airplane or by boat. And so it was really important that we dug into those direct air service markets. So apologies for the eye chart here. This is an actual spreadsheet that we work in on a weekly basis. And what we are doing here in partnership with our agencies, Miles and R&R partners, is we have developed a formula to prioritize our markets moving forward. And this takes into account air capacity, the total number of COVID cases, new cases for each of those locations, the population of that destination, as well as the cases per population. And what this does is this allows us to select markets that are the lowest risk and remove markets from the mix that have become hotspots or have increased cases, as we have to prioritize the health and safety of the residents on our island. In addition to just targeting, those specific markets based off of that formula, we also dug into some additional research. As I said, our restrictions are a little bit tighter, and we have several protocols in place on the island. And so we need to find those travelers that are more open and receptive to following those protocols whenever they are with us. And so we call those travelers responsible travelers. And we dug into some research, and I wanted to show you just kind of a side-by-side comparison of where we were with our traditional targeting and where we are going moving forward, layering on that additional research. So I think some of the other panelists mentioned, decreasing age. What we found is that the younger age group through our research is more receptive to following those protocols and wearing masks. So we wanted to make sure that we were reaching that audience that we weren't talking to previously. As well as we found out, not a politics discussion I think that we want to get into today, but women who are left-leaning politically also index higher for following protocols and being more comfortable wearing masks whenever they go out and about. So we did add an additional targeting piece for left-leaning politics for the first time ever, so we'll be interested to see how that plays out. Again, noted the geographic targets and how we made those changes, behavioral targets. So looking at things like purchase behavior and contextual searches as well to layer in and make sure that we are finding those travelers that are willing to follow the protocols that we have in place on the island. Again, like Brian, just want to be upfront and share the budget information here. Our budget for this campaign is $1.79 million. You can see what the media mix looks like. You can see that it's very heavy video, so OTT and digital video kind of leading the front there to help us generate that awareness and create that demand moving forward that we have kind of lost while we have been dark for the last several months. And so the creative approach. We have approached this campaign with two phases. The first phase is all in good time. This messaging is really rooted in inspiration and wanderlust. This is where we were, the space we lived in while the island was closed, to really keep travelers dreaming of their future travel plans to the island. And now we're transitioning this week to the It's Time to Plan. We're now actively encouraging travelers to start booking and planning their future trips to the island. Our campaign objectives have always been to drive awareness and keep Puerto Rico top of mind, inspire during this time of uncertainty that we're all in, and incite immediate action to plan and increase future bookings. So Becca, if you want to go ahead and queue up the videos that start with right now. So that's right now, warm wishes, and right now it's time for patience. We can just play those back to back.
Well, just want to interject as the moderator and the fun police. We are up against it. Any last comments on that list?
Nope. So I didn't get to show the creatives that we're rolling into now, but check out our social channels, Discover Puerto Rico, and you will see those videos on there. And we hope to welcome you to our airline sometime soon.
Thank you so much to all of our panelists. As the moderator, I do need to keep a track of time, and it's 11 o'clock, and we had so much to say, and I wish we had another hour because this conversation was fascinating. So I really appreciate all of your time and effort put into this. Thank you all for attending, and please refer to the recording after and let us know if you have any questions or feedback. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful day.